Next time on Antiques Roadshow, we continue our visit to New York City.
Are you ready for the knockout punch?
You're kidding.
No.
Not bad. That's ridiculous. A lot of nickels.
That's Antiques Roadshow, right here on PBS.
That's tonight at 8, here on OPB.
2 deaths, both taken to a remote spot and torched.
They didn't try and run. They just let it happen.
We're talking about fire as a weapon of death. I found rehypnol. That's why there's no sound. No screaming.
I'm struggling.
Our killer's on a mission. He's already killed 3 times. If he sees these people as sinful, then he has to cleanse them of their sins. He wants us to know why they need cleansing.
Touching Evil on Mystery.
That's tonight at 9, here on OPB. Business partner Bread and Ink Cafe has made a contribution to the OPB Program Fund for Excellence. Additional funding has been provided by you, the contributing members of OPB.
I have to keep my history alive.
The hopes of my ancestors are now up to me.
I have wishes for the future, but what to wish for is taught by the past.
America is one dream created by many people. And for all of them, history matters. Experience rich traditions and cultures in honor of Hispanic Heritage Month on PBS.
My heritage is part of America's heritage.
And I remember a set of titles when he was producer.
Are you a member of the Communist Party, or have you ever been a member of the Communist Party?
Are you a member of the Communist Party?
Are you now?
Stanley got bigger in his own head.
A terror-stricken town left him to face 4 killers at high noon.
Here on OPB, Tuesday night at 9.
Wednesday. Put your values to the test.
We all do things we are not proud of doing.
Judy, we have to go to the police right now, right now.
How many drinks did you have tonight? I pray that this is all a bad dream. Dad!
It's not an easy decision to just turn in someone that you love.
2 friends divided, 1 tough decision. What would you do? Hear both sides and join the debate online. Endgame, a live interactive event.
Here on OPB, Wednesday night at 8. Funding for local broadcast of Nightly Business Report has been provided by viewers like you and by the following. The Collins Foundation. The Collins Foundation is dedicated to improving the quality of life in Oregon.
D.A. Davidson and Company, a financial services firm serving investors since 1935.
President Bush takes his case to the people, touring the heartland and talking tough about the economy and Iraq. Good evening, I'm Paul Kangas.
And I'm Susie Garab. Well, all that talk of war turns investors cautious. The Dow gains 67 points, but the NASDAQ falls 15. Then Jack Welch's extravagant and controversial retirement package gets the attention of Washington regulators. We'll explain.
Nightly Business Report is brought to you by...
With every solution, we free up business to look at the bigger picture.
Franklin Templeton Investments, providing a perspective for success through Franklin, Templeton, and Mutual Series funds. Franklin Templeton Investments, gain from our perspective.
A.G. Edwards. Financial consultants serving investors and businesses nationwide. A.G. Edwards. Trusted advice. Exceptional service.
It's an automated, wired, digitized push zero for more options world. Who can help business make sense of it all? For professional services, the answer is the people of Deloitte & Touche.
Good evening, everyone. A tentative day of trading on Wall Street today. The Dow rose 67 points, but the Nasdaq lost 15. Investors continue to be worried about the possibility of war with Iraq and also the potential economic and fiscal cost of military action against Iraq. Stephanie Woods reports.
President Bush says defending America against killers is a top priority. In a speech at a Sears manufacturing plant, the president promised to disarm Iraq.
And if Iraq regime continues to defy us and the world, we will move deliberately, yet decisively, to hold Iraq to account.
The cost of war continues to worry financial markets. Treasury Secretary Paul O'Neill says the U.S. can afford the costs of war. White House economic advisor Lawrence Lindsay puts the price tag between $100 and $200 billion. Analysts say the cost will depend on how long the battle lasts.
The war with Iraq will be really expensive if we wear out a lot of our weapons. Tanks, planes that we were built in the 1980s are getting pretty old. And if we use them intensively, we'll have to replace them faster. And that's real expensive.
There's also the expense of increased oil prices. Many analysts expect a price spike to $35 a barrel, but to come down once the conflict ends.
That's at least what I'm anticipating, that it will follow a fairly predictable pattern. Sharp price increase, duration dependent upon the actual hostilities, and once the outcome is clear, then a return to more or less the pre-hostilities level, or possibly even lower.
President Bush is expected to release the strategic petroleum reserves to combat price spikes that could result from an invasion, but analysts say that won't guarantee price stability.
There are all kinds of nightmare scenarios where major export facilities elsewhere in the Persian Gulf could be disrupted possibly for months at a time. If anything like that happens, the sky's the limit.
Administration officials will be on Capitol Hill later this week to drum up support for military action against Iraq. Action, they say, that won't hurt the U.S. economy. Stephanie Woods, Nightly Business Report, Washington.
A day of light and mixed trading on Wall Street as many traders were out for the observance of Yom Kippur. Wall Street's blue chip stocks did stage a small technical rally at today's opening, lifting the Dow Industrial Average about 40 points at the outset. The Nasdaq index, however, edged a few points lower, so that lack of support quashed the early rally attempt. Growing concerns about a possible war with Iraq and the specter of a host of corporate earnings warnings led to a mid-morning sell-off. At 11 a.m., the Dow posted a 47-point loss, Nasdaq index down 21, in large part due to a weak semiconductor group. The market stabilized during mid-session and then firmed up with the help of good gains in several major defense firms like General Dynamics, Northrop Grumman, and Raytheon, all of which were awarded sizable military contracts. While the Nasdaq market remained in moderately lower ground, the blue chips ended the day on a firm note, and the Dow Industrial Average closed up 67.49 points at 8380.18. The Nasdaq Composite came in with a loss of 15.52 and now stands at 1275.88. Big board volume, very slow, 986 million shares, well down from Friday's pace, which wasn't exactly at a barn burner race pace, and then down volume exceeded up volume by a 5-to-4 ratio. Dow Transport Index down nearly 15 points, a loss of 3 2/3 in the Utility Index. The closing tick, fairly bullish at plus 677. The Standard & Poor's 500 up a little over 1.25, nearly a 2.5-point rise in the 100, but the mid-cap 400 fell just over 2 points. CRB Futures Price Index edged up 0.57. A gain of 1.20 in the New York Composite, but a loss of nearly 2.5 on the value line. Russell 2000 small cap off 3.86, while the Wilshire 5000 was up 1.09. The bond market had a narrowly mixed day with some early losses erased by safe haven buying, prompted by talk of a UN-sanctioned attack on Iraq. The Treasury market got a lift from speculation that Fannie Mae, the nation's largest home financing firm, might need to buy more government bonds to hedge mortgage prepayment risks in its huge portfolio. By the close, however, tax-free and corporate issues were mostly unchanged, and Treasuries barely changed on the day. 5-year notes were actually down 4/32. The 10-year notes down a mere 1/32, but the longer Treasury, the 30-year bond, up 3/32. The Lehman Brothers long-term Treasury bond index was up 12.70. I'll be back shortly to show you where the action was on Wall Street today. Susie?
Well, General Electric said today that federal regulators are looking into the lavish retirement package that was given to former Chief Executive Jack Welch. GE says it's cooperating with the request from the Securities and Exchange Commission. Welch's perks stirred up controversy when his wife filed divorce papers alleging a wide range of benefits, from free wine and food for his Manhattan apartment to courtside seat at sporting events. Welch says the perks have been, quote, grossly misrepresented, but he still has asked GE to scale back his retirement package because, quote, perception matters.
When the internet bubble collapsed, many of Sun Microsystem's best customers fell on hard times. Now CEO Scott McNealy is realigning Sun's sales strategy in search of new markets. In an interview with New York Bureau Chief Scott Gervey, McNealy said the economic climate is still troubled.
Overall, I wouldn't say we see any improvement right now. We see pockets that are doing worse, pockets that are doing better. Geographically, China's better than, say, the UK or whatever. We see the low end doing better than the high end as people have smaller budgets and are trying to buy incremental pieces of technology. And we see different markets doing better, where certainly telecommunications and financial services are still not very strong, but we see healthcare and education, government as a better segment. So it's kind of a mixed bag across the board, but all in all, it's certainly not rock and roll like it was a couple years ago.
Have you seen an economic climate like this throughout your career?
I've seen economic climates like this. I just haven't seen the temperature drop as quickly. It's kind of like we went from middle of summer to deep North Dakota winter in about 3 months. So that was the real shocker. You didn't have a chance to put on your winter coat here.
And forecasting must be virtually impossible right now.
We don't forecast.
Your visibility, going out is...
Well, forecasting is an art of the past, when people actually thought there was something you could predict. At this point, we kind of look at last week and decide what to do this week.
Does the stock price get you down when you look at it every morning?
The stock price it's not a perfect market. When we were selling at 10 times revenues a couple of years ago, just about every analyst on the planet was saying, buy Sun. Now that we're selling at way less than 1 times revenues net of cash, most of the analysts are saying, well, hold, or, market perform or whatever. So go figure. It's just the way they are. I think analysts are a wonderful lagging indicator of what's going on.
There have been some criticism of some CEOs selling on the way down. Did you sell on the way down?
Actually, I didn't. I exercised some options and sold enough to pay off taxes and strike price, and hung on to the rest of it. But I guess you could say I'm not a very astute financial type for not selling, and I certainly haven't gotten any credit for not selling, that's for sure. And I don't think people bought any of our computers because I didn't sell, and certainly haven't gotten any good press because I didn't sell, so what's up with that?
You've been suffering then along with the shareholders.
Absolutely.
You are reviving some of the sales strategies.
Yeah, we've really kind of moved the sales force, kind of 4 steps to the right. We haven't left the financial services and telecommunications sectors, and we're still selling into the eBays and those kinds of companies, but we're definitely going where the money is, and today education, healthcare, government, retail, some of the traditional manufacturing environments are where we're selling today. So we've moved a lot of resources in the field to those markets.
Who's your competition? Hewlett-Packard? Even Dell, I think, is trying to do some of this.
The competitor is the Intel Microsoft architecture, IBM, and Hewlett-Packard. Those are probably the only 3 remaining competitors to Sun Microsystems today, and I don't know how many of those will stay in business longer term. We'll see how they do. But the consolidation is probably pretty much done at this point.
Do you think there will be additional needs for cost cutting and things like that as we go forward?
The economy doesn't get better. We've always said if we're not generating a profit, if we're not generating cash flow, then we'll have to go make the moves. Right now we're looking and trying to figure out and understand where the economy's headed and how this quarter will turn out, and what challenges we need. It was about a year ago we made a 9% cut. I think the company's done a great job. We got back to profitability in the June quarter, but clearly with the seasonality, we're not going to, as we mentioned, be profitable this quarter. But we're looking to get this company profitable for the fiscal year and solidly profitable going forward.
Thank you. Scott McNealy, Sun Microsystems.
An update now on Iraq. The United Nations says Iraq has unconditionally accepted a plan to resume UN weapons inspections. The Iraqi foreign minister called the agreement, quote, good news, end quote.
massive asbestos case will go to trial. The Supreme Court refused today to delay the West Virginia case. The trial combines the cases of roughly 8,000 people claiming asbestos exposure against 250 companies. Last week, two of the major defendants in the case, Mobil, now ExxonMobil, and Honeywell International, requested an emergency stay, citing the state court's consolidation of thousands of asbestos claims into one case. But Chief Judge William Rehnquist rejected the petition. Paul.
Shares of ExxonMobil were up 32 cents to $34.40. Honeywell was in the most active on the big board. We'll see it in just a moment. The market overall, a mixed affair with the Dow doing all right, 67.5-point gain, but the broader market lower, 17 stocks on the downside for every 14 on the upside, and 43 new highs for the year versus 76 new lows. GE topped the active list on 12.8 million shares, moving up 85 cents. Tyco International dropped 35 cents, and there you see Honeywell moving up $1.09. Citigroup was a 48-cent gainer. EMC, a 48-cent loser, fifth in big board volume. Pfizer gained 43 cents. AOL Time Warner down 22 cents. JP Morgan Chase lost 33 cents, traded as low as $21.26. A court ruling may keep the company from collecting almost $1.1 billion on losses from trades that JP Morgan Chase made with Enron. Then McDonald's had a decent day, up $1.16. Morgan Stanley upgraded it from underweight to equal weight, feeling that the stock is oversold. AT&T in there with a 40-cent loss, 10th in volume. Boeing up $1.65. The machinist union members have defied their leadership and said they will not go on strike. Cablevision System moved up 72 cents. The company's management says it's open to selling its cable TV systems, especially if the buyer is AOL Time Warner. General Dynamics up $3.58. The U.S. Navy awarded the company's Bath Iron Works $3.2 billion to build 6 Aegis destroyers. Illinois Tool Works down $2.25. The company cut the third quarter Wall Street earnings estimate of 82 cents down to 75 to 80 cents. Northrop Grumman, a $2 gain there. The company received a $1.9 billion U.S. Navy award to build 4 guided missile destroyers, and Raytheon moving up $1.50. The United States Air Force has accepted the company's ASR-11 digital airport surveillance radar. National Golf Properties in the swing today, up 99 cents. Good percentage moved, traded as high as $11.75. An investment group led by Goldman Sachs will buy the firm out for $1.1 billion. That works out to about $12 a share. Ducommun up $1.36. Peter Arment, who is with JSA Research, said that strength in this stock, which is a manufacturer of aerospace components, is probably linked to the fact that the Boeing machinists are not going to go on strike. CKE restaurants down $1. CKE restaurants down $1.01. The company's Hardee's division had a drop in same-store sales in August of 4.5%, and Carl Jr.'s restaurants sales were off 8.1% in August. Dominion Resources fell $5.67. The company reaffirmed its outlook for profits this year, but says next year will be below street estimates because it plans to issue equity securities to bolster its balance sheet. That represents earnings dilution. MGIC investment down $6.53. The company sees third quarter and fourth quarter earnings below street estimates. Bear Stearns downgraded it from outperform to underperform. And Radian Group, which is also in the title insurance business for mortgages, down $4.99. That's in sympathy, obviously, with MGIC. NASDAQ trading a loss of 15.5 points in the composite index. Volume just barely over 1 billion shares. For every 11 stocks higher, 20 lower. Microsoft topped the active list, moving up 13 cents, followed by Intel down 33 cents. Cisco down at 12 cents. And then Oracle lost 45 cents. Dell Computer, nickel loss there, fifth in volume. Applied Material dropped 36 cents. Qualcomm losing $1.25. Amgen 38-cent loss, and QLogic off $1.57. And completing this blizzard of minus signs, KLA 10 Core off 86 cents. Meridian Medical Technology, there's a good plus, up $5.18. The Department of Defense renewed the company's maintenance contract for nerve gas antidote auto injectors. Genzyme General up $1.55 on the day. The company did cut its sales projections for its Renagel kidney drug, and the stock fell as low as $17.95 on that news. However, it rebounded when Shire Pharmaceuticals said its rival kidney drug will not be approved this year. Brocade Communications down $1.15. Merrill Lynch cut 2003 estimates from 53 cents to 51 cents. The American Exchange Index up 113. High-Shear Technology up 56 cents. Best percentage gainer. The company didn't return our calls. DHB Industries down 61, by far the biggest percentage loser. No news on the wires, and they didn't call us back on DHB either. So finally, the index shares just narrow movement fractionally, 2 on the upside, and NASDAQ Q's down 0.28. That's the Wall Street wrap-up. Susie?
Paul, uprisings and secessionist movements have been threatening to tear Indonesia apart. Now it's trying to combat those problems by granting its regional and local governments more autonomy. But as Ryan Melzer reports, it's a move that carries the risk of creating more trouble for the country.
Riau province pumps out more than half of all Indonesia's oil. It's also rich in other natural resources and has tourism and industry on its islands close to Singapore. Yet it has been one of Indonesia's most backward provinces. 40% of the local people live in poverty. That's because almost all the province's wealth flowed straight to Jakarta, with Riau getting back less than 2% of that money. But that's finally changed. A new decentralization policy allows Indonesia's regions to keep much more of their wealth.
By giving the regions more control over their own destinies, the central government in Jakarta hopes to end a lot of grievances and take the steam out of all the rebellions and secessionist movements that have been threatening to tear this country apart.
Riau's budget has shot up 6-fold in the past year. Its ambitious governor plans to use that new money and new decision-making power to transform his province.
Right now we are preparing a master plan, a Riau master plan. So we hire a consultant from Hong Kong, work together with our expert here from Riau University.
The government's focus is on improving infrastructure and on boosting education for native Riau people. Only 1/6 of them currently finish high school, and almost all the good jobs in the province go to better educated migrants from other parts of Indonesia. But Riau's government is making progress. While the rest of Indonesia stagnates, Riau's economy is growing robustly. Riau is getting new airports and roads, new schools and colleges. Like this polytechnic, built with help from the American oil company Caltex. Still, some worry that Jakarta's autonomy plan might still backfire.
Whether it will work ultimately still really depends on whether the issues on law, order, and corruptions remain a manageable problem, or it becomes even worse as, more power and freedom are given to provincial governments.
Such negative perceptions of Indonesia hinder Riau's efforts to attract foreign investors. The governor also has to cope with the massive expectations of his own people.
Our vision not for short term, our vision for long term, and we have work hard.
At least now, with more autonomy, Riau's people can feel they are finally working for their own benefit and not just watching others siphon off their land's riches. Ryan Meltzer, Nightly Business Report, Riau, Indonesia.
Tomorrow, putting an end to corporate scandals. We'll look at one business group's plan to stop the next Enron.
WorldCom is trimming its overseas operations. The bankrupt telecom giant is cutting 2,000 jobs, or roughly a quarter of its staff, in Europe, the Middle East, and Africa. WorldCom says its overseas operations continue to be fully funded and that they should turn cash flow positive next year. WorldCom files for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection in July after overstating its profits for the past several years.
Chevron Texaco wants consumers to trust their car to the man who wears the star. The energy giant is reclaiming the famous Texaco star logo, but it has to wait until 2004 when current licensing agreements expire for the star's current owners, Royal Dutch Shell and Saudi Refining. Those companies got the rights to the logo last year when Texaco divested some of its refining assets. Chevron Texaco shares were up 81 cents to close at $74 even.
Tonight's commentary, a scolding for Fed Chairman Alan Greenspan. Here's Alice Rivlin, Senior Fellow at the Brookings Institution and former Vice Chair of the Federal Reserve.
1990s, Alan Greenspan was a deficit hawk, repeatedly urging the government to cut the red ink. But when deficits turned to surpluses, he discovered a new problem that appeared to justify the huge Bush tax cut. In March 2001, he predicted that growing surpluses would eliminate the national debt and force the Treasury to invest in private securities. The chairman's fears were unrealistic at the time. They were based on optimism about the economy, wildly improbable assumptions about government spending, and huge underestimates of the cost of the tax cut. But even an unrealistic Greenspan carries weight. He pushed the Bush tax cut over the top. The surpluses are gone, and last week the chairman was back in Congress warning about future deficits. But he refused to blame the tax cuts or endorse their repeal. Instead, he urged unspecified spending cuts, a daunting task in wartime with mounting domestic needs and a growing older population. Get real, Mr. Chairman. Controlling looming deficits will take both spending restraint and higher revenues. We cannot afford more tax cuts right now, especially cuts that benefit only upper-income people. As Fed chairman, you should voice alarm about future deficits, but don't use your chairmanship to push a personal ideology on taxes that has nothing to do with monetary policy. Leave the fiscal choices to elected leaders. I'm Alice Rivlin.
Recapping today's market action, the Dow gained 67.5 points, but the Nasdaq Composite lost 15.5 points. And please be sure to join us at our worldwide website, nbr.com.
And finally tonight, a good scrubbing for David, Michelangelo's David, that is. The nearly 500-year-old statue hasn't been cleaned since 1873. This current cleaning will take at least 6 months to complete and cost about $165,000. Workers will also fix one of David's toes, which was lost when a man attacked the statue with a hammer back in 1991. David is one of Italy's most popular tourist attractions, and Paul, over 1 million people visit Florence's Gallery of the Academy every year, mostly to see that masterpiece.
A lot of investors have a lot in common with David because they've taken a very expensive bath in this bear market. Wouldn't you agree?
Paul, only you would tie in Wall Street with a piece of art. You're a master. Let's leave it there.
Yes.
That's Nightly Business Report for Monday, September 16th. I'm Susie Garrow. Good night, everyone. Good night to you, Paul.
Good night, Susie. I'm Paul Kangas, wishing all of you the best of goodbyes.
Nightly Business Report is brought to you by...
Markets may rise, or they may fall. Who helps companies prepare for the unpredictable? For business advisory services, the answer is the people of Deloitte & Touche.
A.G. Edwards. Financial consultants serving investors and businesses nationwide. A.G. Edwards. Trusted advice, exceptional service.
Franklin Templeton Investments, providing a perspective for success through Franklin, Templeton, and Mutual Series funds. Franklin Templeton Investments. Gain from our perspective.
With every solution, we free up business to look at the bigger picture.
And made